Welcome to the Biz Easy Podcast, where small business is simplified for greater results. Brought to you by Resources and Development. Go to www.resources-development.com for help in taking your business to the next level. And now, help me welcome the host of the Biz Easy Podcast, Steve McCrillis.
Welcome to the Biz Easy Podcast, coming to you recorded across the airwaves to all of America, your resource to help take your business to the next level. Much like the Biz Easy Podcast, our new book, Isn't It Time? Your Business Becomes Biz Easy, is an eclectic collection of everyday challenges that business owners face daily. So I ask, isn't it time you get our new book? It's available on Amazon or as an ebook at resources-development.com. Also, don't forget to stay tuned to learn how to get your free gift. It's our Biz Easy Business Tool of the Week. My name's Skip, and I'm the lead business coach here at Resource and Development, and your host as well as we learn how to stay better focused on the things that make you great. I'd like to introduce now my partner and our face to the nation and master builder, Steve McCrillis.
That's a master builder. That kind of tips my hand a little bit. Yeah, I do a little carpentry in my free time. Thank you, Skip. I appreciate the intro. Now we can't begin without hearing the bad dad joke of the day. I added the bad part. Sorry.
No, twisting my arm. Okay, I'll give you one. Speaking of dads, how many dads does it take to change a light bulb?
Okay. I give
2. One to replace the light bulb and one to ask, change it to what?
Okay. I've not heard that one. That's good.
All right, Steve. Tell us what we're talking about today.
Well, today we're talking about leaders in leadership. Now, let me begin by saying that there have been literally thousands of books and articles written about leadership, becoming a leader, transitioning from managers to leaders. For that matter, I can admit to you that parts of this blog are paraphrased, if not directly copied, from a blog we've written in the past. Now, that said, when I ran across a listing of the inspiring traits of exceptional leaders, it was a dynamic summary. But let's step back a minute and say you have just been promoted, or better yet, you have been inspired to a position of leadership. Well, here's a brief missive for your reading pleasure, or now your listening pleasure. See, I copied it right out of the blog. So here you are, advancing your career from management role to one with more prominent leadership responsibilities. Now, this is easily identified by having your current job responsibilities transition from more task-driven work to more people management-driven work. Now, don't get me wrong. There will always be a certain number of task-oriented responsibilities, whatever your job description is. But the leadership of people through innovation, change, and turnaround come with much more demand for skills in people, motivation, and inspiration. And I think I've said those two words 14 times in the last 2.5 minutes. Inspire and influence will now replace sell and demand. You will need to focus on how to increase sales while they work on building a better operation. Now, you will be deal making rather than turning the wrench. You will work in broad strokes instead of dealing with details. So, as you can imagine, it becomes critical to build a strong, capable team with which to surround yourself. What's next, boss type of direct report employee is no longer going to cut it for you.
Hey, before you get to the next step, Steve, I want to congratulate everybody on the new promotion and also ask you, does this apply to business owners or just people working inside a corporation?
Well, it does apply to business owners because at some point in time, as you grow your business, you become more people management oriented than doing all of the tasks. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a wide number of small businesses out there that are owner op, and I commend them for their effort and their stamina and their perseverance. But at some point in time, you're going to have to manage a group of people as you grow to do the things that you have essentially done to start the business. So the first step is to build a good team that can work more autonomously. And the next step is to change your mindset and work on those things that will provide long-term sustainable growth and benefit to the company or organization. Now, sounds easy, doesn't it? But it is critical. Think about it this way. The Pareto principle, which we've stated many times, for many outcomes, roughly 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. Need I elaborate? The principle doesn't stipulate that all situations will demonstrate that precise ratio. It refers to a typical distribution. By focusing on the 20% of work that is most important, we can improve the efficiency of a project. Now, your job as a leader becomes focusing on the 20% of the work, people and their abilities. Your 80% of results will soon thereafter occur.
Pareto strikes again, eh, Steve? So if we want to get
Always.
some, so if we want to get something accomplished, then we focus on what gives us our greatest result. I guess prioritizing. How do those of us with OCD ignore those little things?
Oh, well, it's funny that you say that because I, like you, are both OCD. And when I was, as an analyst, I worked with a lot of business owners who couldn't take themselves out of the moment. Instead of explaining what needed to be done or asking them how they should be done, which is great leadership, they said, well, let me just do it. And then they get in and show it. In the meantime, the employee or leader, whomever, was standing back watching. But taking the time and working with those people does take a change of mindset effort. So it really is important that you become cognizant of the more effective they are at doing those things, the more you can become an effective leader. Now, this is a good illustration of what you probably are doing right now. In effect, you are spending 80% of your time managing, or perhaps even as a technician, and 20% being a leader, working on the long-term benefit of your business, which is critical for you. Imagine that next week you worked on the good stuff 30% of the time, and next month you work 40% on these critical tasks. And eventually you have reversed the equation to 80% of the time you're working on the deal making, sales increasing, infrastructure expansion that your business desperately needs. So what that represents is a shift from doing the work to managing people who can effectively do the work. Okay, now that we truly recognize the principles of using your leadership role for effectiveness, meaning 20/80, let's look at some other essential qualities that will make for an exceptional leader. I'm going to go through this list rather quickly because some of them seem redundant, but I think that they're all important. Trust that those you've hired will do what they've been hired to do. Seek advice and input from those in your charge. Always find opportunities to make others shine. Recognize the contributions of others. When things get tough, have their back. Become a masterful storyteller. People respond to stories and situations that are relatable. Challenge others to do bigger and better things. Express appreciation. Responsive to realistic concerns. Know when to apologize. Give credit where credit is due. Treat others with dignity and respect. And most of all, care. I credit Glenn Leibowitz, a prominent editor, writer, and multimedia content creator who has penned this list from his many experiences and interviews with prominent leaders in his career. If you, like me, have had the great experience, and sometimes awful one, dealing with a leader who has his finger on the pulse of those in his charge, you can relate to what an exceptional leader does or doesn't do, as we learn from both.
Right, Steve. We've all had those bosses that bully, scream, and are disrespectful. It makes going to work each day difficult. And then we've had those leaders that inspire us to give our best. We go to work each day challenged and not wanting to disappoint or let down that leader. It makes a huge difference in our daily output, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And I can recall many experiences where I sat with the business owner, recognizing that he was OCD and wanted to be task oriented. And I remember one case where I got through this missive about changing from doing the work to managing the work. And he immediately stopped the meeting, went out into the shop, called everybody together, and told them that it screamed at him, told them what awful work that they were doing. And from now on, they better do better work because he's going to lead this company. It was comical, but it was tragic. I mean, I had to back that whole thing down. It took me 2 more days to back him down off that so anybody could follow him as a leader. It's unfortunate, but we do learn most from our mistakes. And
Mm-hmm.
we also learn much more from other people's mistakes if you're smart.
If you're smart, that's right.
As you reflect on the number of supervisors you've had in your career or careers, I'm suspect that you can see quite distinctly the characteristics that your former Mr. Bossman had and mostly did not have. Now, I will argue that the days of draconian management and leadership will not get the results that they used to. I've had the distinct displeasure working for a guy who was really the antithesis of the characteristics listed above. Frankly, he was a miserable human, and I know it just distinctly changed the course of my career. My thinking at the time was, if this is the kind of leadership I have to put up with, I'm out. And sure enough, I was.
Yeah, talent won't put up for much. The only people who'll end up working for you are the mediocre people.
Yeah, if you want strong people, you have to be a strong leader. And all those characters we just talked about are key to that.
Hmm.
Now, this may sound trite or perhaps a bit too simplistic, but to behave as a leader you would be inspired to work for, is sound advice. That is, if you are truly honest with yourself. Circling back, let's not forget that hiring like-minded people as part of your team that are qualified, capable, and motivated to do what is expected of them is a critical beginning. Leadership with all the fundamental qualities and rewarding is rewarding for all. From small things, great things come to pass. I ask you, isn't that the essence of leadership to begin with?
Absolutely, Steve. But with all those awful role models of leaders that we see on TV every day that are tyrants, uh, emphasis on the rants part of tyrants. This this is a great reminder that inspiring is always better than forcing staff members to accomplish great things. And those visionaries that are a-holes should do themselves a favor. If they can't change, they should hire a great leader with these qualities to be the buffer between themselves and the staff, don't you think?
I've seen that happen as well. In fact, many people did not want to lead their company because they know they're miserable at it. In fact, they would rather do the work. So I'm going to hire somebody that can lead the team. It's tricky identifying role changes like that and having somebody, an intermediary, if you will, that essentially communicates to the group, leads the group while you're out there running a machine or running a backhoe is tricky, but it can be done. Recognizing your own limitations and shortcomings is probably a great start. There's no doubt.
Right on. Well, Steve, it's once again it's story time, and we're going to do something a little different today. We're quickly getting known for our whiteboard videos. So today's story time, we're going to insert a little video right here that will tell a story that kind of reflects what you've been talking about, Steve.
Sounds great. Can't wait to see it.
What makes an exceptional leader? Well, in the early 2000s, this company was struggling to differentiate itself in the competitive e-commerce market. Despite growth in revenue, Nick and Tony had faced challenges in creating a distinctive identity and establishing customer loyalty. Tony recognized the need for a fundamental shift in growth, and the customer service and company culture could be the key factors. He focused on building a strong company culture that emphasized employee happiness and a commitment to delivering outstanding customer service. Tony introduced the concept of delivering happiness, which went beyond just selling shoes. To achieve this, they developed a set of core values that guided its operations and interactions, like delivering wow through service to embrace and drive change. Create fun, a little weirdness. Be adventurous, creative, and open-minded. Pursue growth and learning while building open and honest relationships. Build a positive team and a family spirit, and do more with less. And finally, be passionate and determined, and finally, be humble. The company offered new hires a company culture book, expressing what the company culture meant to them, a symbol of transparency and a way to involve employees in shaping the company's values. The emphasis on culture and customer service paid off. The company, have you guessed it yet? Zappos, became known for its exceptional customer service, often going above and beyond expectations. The company's revenue growth and gained a reputation for being one of the best places to work. The leadership of Nick and Tony's story demonstrates they're fostering a unique and positive company culture, rooted in values and employee happiness, can be a powerful catalyst for business success and customer loyalty.
Great story, and I like the doodly.
Exactly. Well, I'm hoping everybody enjoys that. We're going to try a few of these, and if you like them or don't like them, just let us know, and we can adjust our story time accordingly.
Well, the focus group that we sent it out to seemed to enjoy it. I mean, it was entertaining. It's engaging. If you're only listening to this, you're probably not going to get the same impact as if you're watching this. So let that be an invitation. do watch the podcast rather than just listen to it. It's a video cast.
Or at least have it on in the background so you can look at it when you need to.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
There you go. So, and much like the story time, we're going to insert our little video about our free gift today and how you can obtain your free Biz Easy business tool gift.
And this is not a doodly video. It is a skip video.
Skip and Steve production.
This week's free gift is our lease negotiator. Now, this tool is designed to help you determine the best deal when considering several lease options for available real estate space for your business and or office. Now, we all know how important planning is, especially when it comes to planning for profit. To ensure that you are planning for the best financial terms and prices when considering a lease, this tool can facilitate that process. Now, let's let Skip show us around the tool.
Hey, thanks, Steve. I hope everybody finds this helpful if they're in the stages of lease negotiations. It can be used one of two ways. We've got a Model A and a Model B. You can use Model A and B to compare two different properties and two different landlords' offers to you, or you can use it for putting the offer of a landlord in Model A and then maybe tweaking those numbers in Model B so you can compare them side by side. So in this particular case, we changed the rent from $50 a square foot per year to $48 per square foot per year. We also changed the tenant improvement that the landlord will contribute from $5 a foot to $3.50 a foot. We also need to take into account the rent increases as well as the triple net increases, right? So basically, you just put in the month that each of the increases is going to happen. And how much and what percentage it will increase, both for the triple net as well as the rent, side by side, and it'll tell you which model is best. In this case, Model B. But it will also show you kind of side by side, month by month, and you remember that 5% increase we put in month 13. Our rent went up, our triple net went up in both models here, and you can see them side by side, month by month. So you can kind of look at it throughout the term of the lease. This thing works for up to 120 months. That's 10 years. And we hope that it's very, very helpful to you. Bottom line is right here. What is the best model for us to use over the lifetime of the lease? Thanks, Steve.
Skip, well, you sounded like Henry Ford there for a minute, but it's Model A and Model T. No, just kidding. Once again, the inputs are minimal, but the outputs are quite powerful. Now, this tool has been very valuable to help you consider which, if you have several options to consider when getting a real estate lease. Now, we hope this makes your business a little more predictable and profitable. And the way to get your free copy of the Lease Negotiator today is to go to the products page at resources-development.com and use the coupon code LEASE, LEASE, to get yours absolutely free. Now, this product is a $29.95 value that you will receive free today for listening to us. Our gift to help your life become biz easier.
All right, Steve, we're back. Anything you want to say to wrap things up?
You know, I would have liked to have this be a multi-part podcast, because I think that transitioning to become leader and what a good leader looks like and looking for those qualities and trying to have those qualities is really important, because I think many people would like to know more what they can do or what they can expect. So be that as it may, my recommendation to you is watch this podcast more than once.
There you go. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in today. I hope you enjoy your free gift and our story time, and we will catch you on the flip-flop. Steve, clap us out. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Thanks for listening to today's Biz Easy podcast. If you enjoyed our broadcast, we would kindly ask you to like, subscribe, and share with other entrepreneurs. See you next time on the Biz Easy podcast, where business is simplified for greater results.